Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. So the fly in the vise is tied primarily for Steelhead. It's not a recognised pattern that I know of, but I have a feeling it could do a turn for me when I go on my trip next March. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak 950 barbless hook. This is extra long shanked. It's finished on a heavy wire and in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Semplify. It's nano silk at 3/0. As always with the nano silks, I'm going to just get a little bit of super glue onto the shank of the hook to help adhere the silk to the shank. I'll just use my thread to spread that up and down. And then what I'll do is get a bed of silk down onto the shank. Okay, so I'm going to take away my rat's tail. Now I'm going to be using some zonker strip, and I've got some here. It's 6mm from Troutline. Now off camera I've already measured up 2 strips, and this is what's going to give me that flapping motion when I retrieve the flies. So I don't want to have a big long tail, because all you'll get is tail nips. You want to have it probably about just over the length of the shank. So what I'm going to do for easy use is tie them in one at a time. I'm going to come in, they're the same length, so I know that I don't have to worry about them being different lengths. I'll capture your side in first, and then if I bring that up to where I started your side, I can catch in the other side. So I'm just going to come round. Now what this is going to do for me is generate lots of movement. I'm going to get a lot of movement out of this fly, and as you can see, it's a fair old size. I'm going to get quite a lot of tail nips off of the smaller fish, but bigger fish will come and engulf this. So next thing I want to do is add in my little bit of body, and what I've got is some Fritz here. I'm sorry I've lost the packet, it's become detached from the packet, but I think it is from Semplify if I recall correctly. It's a kind of a purple Fritz with UV fibres worked into it. So I'm just going to catch that in at the tail there. This is going to give me my little bit of colour. Now I'm not going to come all the way up because I'm only getting a little bit of this in. I'm going to do something else at the front. So each turn I'm sweeping back with Fritz, trying to pack it in there as tightly as I can, because I want that body supported when I do the next part of the fly. So a couple of more turns. I'm really tying this up with Steelhead in mind, if I'm honest. I've got a trip coming up in March, and I'm starting to turn my attention to Steelhead patterns. I don't think this is a recognised pattern that I'm aware of. I did see something along similar lines called the Flapper, I think. It might have been tied by Andy Saunders, if I recall correctly, but it has been a number of years. So I've caught that in there, got my tail all going on, and that's looking pretty good so far. So what I've done is I've taken the zonker strip and I've taken a small amount of hair from the zonker strip, and I want to catch that in a dubbing loop. And what I'm going to do is just split my thread to achieve this. I'll just get my needle in behind. Now, even for a blind old sod like myself, splitting 3/0 thread shouldn't be a big issue. So I've just split that thread up, and I'm going to pop the bit of zonker hair into my split thread. Now you've got to keep tension on the thread. If you don't, your zonker hair will simply fall out. So make sure you have got some tension on your thread. So I've wrapped that up. It's looking pretty good. I'll pull back my frits as much as I can, and then I can start wrapping that up. And that's looking pretty good. This fly is all about the movement. So I'll get a few wraps in front here. And if I can locate my wire brush, what I want to do is just pull all that back. That's looking pretty good. The next thing I want to do is tie in my 2 runners that are going to run up either side of the fly. Now, first thing I want to do is just dampen down the zonker at the front here. And what I'm going to use for my runners is from Ban Valley Flies, generic hackles. What they do is they put them into little packs like this, so if you don't want to buy a whole cape, you can simply buy the little packet that you need, and that's what I've done. It saves a bit of money. It's not like I tie up hundreds of these flies. And what I'm going to do is on your side first, I'm going to tie that in. Hopefully. Can't really see. I'll just have a quick check on your side. Make sure that's lying right. Now it might stick out a little while it's dry like this, but once it's wet, that's going to flush down to the side. And then I'll get in my side again. When I picked my 2 hackles, I made sure they were the right lengths, so that they're going to be uniform on either side. So again, I can catch that in on my side, and just tighten everything up. Make sure them runners are well trapped inside. And again, if I damp down my fingers, I can just make sure, slick everything back, get it out the way, like so. So, I'm going to bring in my hen hackle. What I've done is I've got a hen feather and I've trapped in with my hackle flyers to get this Christmas tree effect. Now it doesn't really matter on a fly of this size. You could probably have tied it in at the butt, but I've decided to do it this way. And then I'll bring my thread. You'll notice that I've left plenty of room so I can build a neat head at the front here. So I'll grab my hackle pliers, and I want a fairly robust hackle. So I'm going to use my thumb and forefinger just to start sweeping the fibres back. It's going to be supported with the zonker strip and the frits, so the fly won't just collapse in the water, so to speak. It'll keep that sort of teardrop effect. And if I get a chance later this week, I will try and pop this one in the float tank, or the swim tank should I say, not the float tank. I doubt it will float very well. So I've used nearly all that feather, and I'm going to just trap it in at the eye. Now before I pull it away, I'm going to bring everything back, and I can start building my small head. And once I've started that, I can simply grab my hackle pliers and pull away the excess feather. So that's looking how I thought it would look, but it will look much better in the water. Quite tempted to go and give it a go for trout as well, just to see if it works. But as I said at the start, it is primarily a steelhead fly. Those experienced steelhead anglers amongst you, please let me know if you don't think this will fly, and it will go straight in the bin. No, it won't. I've got a feeling it's going to do okay. So I'll just get a quick finish in there. And then to finish this one off, you can simply use varnish or super glue, whatever your poison is. And I think I'll use a little super glue on this occasion. because I can't seem to locate my varnish, or my UV resin for that matter. But if you could only see my fly tying bench, you'll see what an absolute disaster zone it is. I've been tying a lot of shrimp patterns up actually, and it's not really, my bench is not really recovered from that. So just get this finished up, and there we go. Now I've not got a name for this fly, so if you can think of a good name other than the flapper, please jot it down in the comments section below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.